Chisholm, the technical sales engineer in Casper Technologies, and also have my team from Mota Data. We have Mr. Tayo, and we have Mr. My Ark. Yeah, pardon me for the pronunciation. So before we start, kindly mute your microphone and you can use the chat box for your question. This webinar will be recorded and will be shared after the webinar. So if you have any question, drop in the chat box and there'll be a Q&A section after the webinar where we can ask our question and they'll be attended to. Casper Technology is an IT solution company, and our mission is to be the provider of IT. Our mission is to provide a dedicated safe haven for all our customers' IT needs. And our vision is to be the leading and preferred IT solution provider for our valued customers. We have we're partners with different OEMs, partners with Sophos, Fortinet, Mota Data, Dell, VMware, HP, and many more. But today, we'll be talking about Mota Data. Now I'll leave the floor to my colleague here, Chisholm, to take over.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. So now we can, first of all, let me introduce myself. So my name is Mehak and I'm working with Team Mota Data, which is an NMS and ITSM solution provider company. So I'm working as an subject matter expert at the Mota Data for both of our solutions, that is the network monitoring system and the IT service management. Okay. So in the today's session, what we will be doing is we will have a quick overview about Mota Data, what Mota Data does, what are the different product offerings we have, and then we will have the live demonstration of both of the product also, which is a network monitoring system and the IT service management. Okay. So in between, if anyone is having any queries, feel free to drop it over the chat also. So, I can address those questions as well. Okay, so I'll be sharing my screen now. Okay. So first of all, I'll brief you about the Mota Data. So a company is registered with the name MotaData Systems Private Limited. We are present in more than 25 plus countries, so our channel partners and distributors. The company was established as 2010, so it is more than a decade now. We are into this market. It is almost 12 years now. We are having a strong workforce of around 150 plus employees, and we have made 250 partners across the globe. We are having various clients across telecom, enterprise, and the government segment. Okay, so MotaData is also being recognized by Gartner, Deloitte Tech Fast 50, IDC reports, and CIO Tech Brand. Okay. So coming further, we are serving all these clients across the different segments. So in the enterprise, we are into the BFSI, healthcare, education, manufacturing, and ITS segment. In the government, we are serving a lot of smart cities project, state-wise FTTS projects, and surveillance projects. And the CSP market, we are into the various MSPs and the ISP market also. Okay. So nowadays, with most of the organization, the problem statements are that they are using disjointed tools to either perform IT operations and to monitor the microservices. They are facing the challenges. They don't have the proper solution to manage the IT and the non-IT inventory at a centralized platform. There is no solutions which is having no, a large amount of log retention period that can be defined. There are a lot of tickets are there, for the IT, which they are not able to respond or resolve in a proper way. Okay. Then there are automation challenges also to identify the root cause analysis. So if the problems are identified, how we can drill down to the root cause analysis through the automation. Okay. Then lack of access to the different environments. Okay. So also, since multiple tools are there for monitoring, that is the disjointed monitoring is there. So there are a lot of too many false positive alerts are getting generated. There is no correlation among the modules, and multiple alerts are being triggered to the administrators, which becomes difficult for them to identify the root cause, and the MTTR to resolve any issue goes higher. Okay. And the approach which most of the organization nowadays doing is the reactive way of identifying the issues. But with the tools like MotaData, where we have AI capabilities like anomaly detection and the forecasting, we can do the monitoring the proactive way. So the tool can alert the administrators before the actual issue has been occurred. Okay. So these are the multiple problems that is there in the organization. Now, MotaData is coming up with the solution that is the entire IT operation management solutions we are providing. So that includes various segments in it. So the very first is the service desk automation part, where the IT can offer services to the all the end users. Okay. Now this services can be in the form of tickets and the service request, which end users can request them to the technicians. So technicians can respond to the queries, and the entire flow can be automated through the workflows, SLAs also. We also have this asset management in the place. So where the asset management can help in maintaining the entire IT and the non-IT inventory. Okay. So for the IT inventory, the system can do the automatic scanning by scanning the network through agent, and by integrating with the third-party discovery probes like SCCM solution. Okay. Now all the tickets that are raised by the end users can be linked with a particular asset also. So this is about the Itsm platform. The second solution we have is the network monitoring system, where system will monitor the entire infrastructure. Okay. So when we talk about the entire infrastructure, that includes all your network devices, servers, applications, databases, URLs. We can do the performance monitoring and the health monitoring. Then log monitoring is also there, where the system will be collecting logs from all these sources, and those will be analyzed on the meaningful dashboards. So the best part is that all these solutions that is highlighted here is provided under a single roof. Okay, where all the modules are correlated among themselves. Okay. So when I talk about future of IT ops, so what IT ops will improve is the improved customer experience. It helps in improving innovation and agility. Then it also monitors and improves the compliance part, and provide greater visibility to administrator regarding the IT cost and the assets that are being involved in the IT operations. Okay. Now these are the some of the MotaData use cases I would like to highlight. So through MotaData, we can achieve the unified monitoring. So since the monitoring platform can monitor the entire infrastructure, that includes the performance monitoring, log monitoring, flow monitoring, and the configuration management. So all these sections are covered under a single roof. So we can have a unified monitoring, and because of the tighter correlation among the modules, the root cause analysis becomes easier. Okay. Then we can also do the efficient incident response. So we have this ticketing platform, which is an ITL compliant platform, where the system is also integrated with the monitoring system. So for any alarms getting generated in the NMS system, it auto raises a ticket in the ticketing system. Okay. Then we have this asset management, where we can do the IT and the non-IT management of asset IT and non-IT assets management over the platform. And the log management is there, where the logs can be monitored from all the sources, all the components in the infrastructure, and they will be analyzed on the dashboards. Okay. So this is the unified monitoring we were talking about with AI and ML capabilities. Okay. So MotaData network monitoring offers end-to-end visibility of network performance, SNMP data flow and the log data across both on-premises and cloud infrastructure. Using our platform, organization can perform correlation and dependency mapping to reduce answers as to why certain events has happened. Okay, so like the same use case we can take, like if we are having the performance and the log monitoring at the same platform. So for any alarms are getting generated, let's suppose any higher CPU utilization is identified in any of the server, then through the logs, it becomes easier to identify why a certain incident has occurred. Okay, since we are monitoring both the performance and the log at the same platform itself. Okay, then efficient incident response management. So service ops, which is an ITSM platform of MotaData, is an ITL aligned incident management module to handle incidents systematically. So within intelligent automations, we have also introduced a chatbot in the system. So that chatbot is having the capability of natural language processing, where we can define the entire flow. That chatbot itself is a virtual agent that can resolve a lot of the user queries by itself. Okay, so that helps in automating the ticket creation, taking the status of the ticket, and resolving the user queries by themselves. Okay, so and then we also have this mobile app available, which is handy for the end users. So end users can use the mobile applications to raise the incidents, to check the update on the incidents as well. So it also lowers down your OpEx cost with AI-enabled automation, incident classification. So if I explain you with an example here, so let's suppose there is an organization which is receiving thousands of tickets a day. Okay. Now there is an L1 team which categorizes a ticket as soon as a ticket has been raised by the end users. So in that case, what with MotaData, what we can do is there is this AI capability which self-categorizes the ticket based on the past ticket data that we already have. So it understands the ticket and identifies that this ticket goes to the which particular technician team and what should be the category of that particular ticket. So we can entirely remove the cost of the L1 team. Okay. Then we have this inventory management for IT assets also, where IT and the non-IT assets, where system will scan the assets and we can see the entire asset details, like what are the hardware details, software details, users account created on a particular machine. It also shows the non-IT information through which we can import the CSV non-IT inventory also in the system. Okay, we can also have this track of asset movement. So if asset is being transferred from one location to another or from one user to another, so everything will be recorded in the system, and that helps in audit trail also. Okay, we can also optimize the software license cost. So there are multiple features in the system, like software metering and software license management. So that identifies how much time a software was used, when it was last used, and how many licenses we have, how many of them are installed or not installed. So accordingly, we can take decision how useful a particular software to a particular organization. Then talking about the log management part, so entire log management is also available here. So in the log management, the system is collecting logs from various sources, like your application like AD, Exchange, then servers are there, Windows and Linux servers, then network devices, syslogs or routers, switches and firewalls. So any type of log system will be able to monitor. So we are supporting syslogs, events logs, audit logs out of the box. So that also helps in maintaining the regulatory compliance reports. Okay. And with the system supporting both agent-based or agentless way of collecting the logs. So since logs are in the raw format and they're difficult to understand, so in the system will parse those logs and will highlight them on the dashboards. And for any activity, any issues that are going on in the infrastructure, the system will also alert if certain log entry has been identified during the log monitoring part. Okay. So if I give you the overall solution overview which MotaData has, so in total, MotaData is having two solutions. One is a network monitoring system and second is the IT service management. Okay. So a network monitoring system is having multiple sections. So first one is the IIP, and second is the data analytics platform. So IIP is infrastructure intelligence platform that will do the performance monitoring and the health monitoring of the entire infrastructure. Then data analytics platform will do the log monitoring and the flow monitoring at the same time. Okay. So these two part IIP and DEF will come under the NMS system. Then we have this ITSM platform, which you call as in service ops, which is an ITL compliant ping verification tool. Okay, so where we have this ticketing, asset management, and the patch management, all these components at a same platform. So in total, there are two products, NMS and ITS. Okay, so if I highlight about key features of the MotaData IAP platform, so it is basically doing the performance monitoring of the infrastructure, where we are supporting various native protocols. So we are having support of PowerShell, SNMP, SSH, JDBC, JMX, HTTP, and HTTPS. So multiple protocols are supported out of the box for doing the performance monitoring or the health monitoring. Okay. Now there is no vendor dependency. Any devices of any make and model can be monitored here. We can also have this unified dashboard of the entire infrastructure, where we can monitor network devices, servers, applications, database, URLs, all this at a unified dashboard. So we have this eagle's eye view of our entire infrastructure, how well the infrastructure is performing. Okay, that also helps in doing the root cause with context, because there is a correlation among the different devices that we are monitoring. The system is also integrated with third-party systems also. So if you are having any ticketing system in place, so we can do the monitoring and auto raise a ticket in the ticketing system. Okay, then the system is also highly scalable with the remote polling engine. So if our client infrastructure is very big, where there are a lot of devices to be monitored, then with the help of RP, we can distribute the load. So, and it all through RPs, we can also monitor multiple sites centrally. So if we are having multiple sites, then we can deploy RP at each site that will collect the data locally and will send it to the master server. So through RPs, the system is highly scalable, and we can also monitor the distributed architecture also. Okay, and system is also sending proactive alerts with context as well. Then the other part of the monitoring system is DAP, data analytics platform, where, as you can see, we are monitoring all these things. Log monitoring and the flow monitoring will be covered. Okay, so in the log monitoring, we are monitoring network logs, server logs, application logs. Then any custom logs are also there, then we can monitor them. Okay, so system is having the plugin driven architecture, where whatever devices, whatever data that we are monitoring are through the plugins. So if any new device is coming up in the market that we need to monitor, so we just have to create a plugin. So plugin is like creating an application, installing in the mobile phone. The same way we can create a plugins and install it in the MotaData server. Okay, so we don't have to make changes in the core code of the product. Any new customizations and new custom logs to be monitored, we just have to create a plugin, and that will be monitored by the MotaData. Then we also have this flow monitoring available, where we are supporting NetFlow, SFlow, JFlow, IPFix. All these flows are supported, so to do the entire traffic analytics. So this will help us let us know, like, where exactly the traffic is going, what are the top 10 talkers in the network. So all this flow monitoring will be available. Okay. Then we also have this service of platform, where we have this ITL compliant ITSM platform, where we are having all these modules being supported here. So we have incident management, problem management, change, release, knowledge base as part of the service desk and the service catalog. Then we have this asset management remote desktop, which is part of the asset management. We are also providing add-on modules with the asset management, like purchase management and the contract management. Then we are also supporting patch management also, where centrally we can do the patching of Windows, Linux, and Macintosh machines. We can also deploy the packages also. Okay. So if we talk about the future trends, for an IT organization, then there is a digital transformation that predicts that worldwide spending to reach $1.97 trillion by 2022. Then there is If you talk about the different flood of tickets, average ticket volume has increased by 35% over the past year. So nowadays, IT teams is receiving more tickets because the infrastructure is going more. Okay. Then a lot of organizations are adopting the cloud technology. So where it also becomes important to monitor all the different cloud services like Kubernetes, containers, Dockers. If any Azure and Amazon services are there, then we also need to monitor that. If we talk about user experience, then 74% of the enterprise operations leaders say that customer experience is their top strategic priority. It also becomes important that the solutions that we are providing, should also be having a good UI, and it should be easy to use where all the customization should be codeless. Okay. So in Data, we are coming up with a release which you call as an AIOps platform, which is an entirely AI and ML based monitoring system, where we are providing a lot of other things apart from the basic monitoring system. So all the monitoring system in the market and the traditional monitoring system in the market, we are having an edge against them by providing all these functionalities like anomaly detection, dynamic baselining, forecasting, noise suppression, correlation. Okay. So that does the monitoring on a proactive basis, and the entire downtime can be reduced, and NTTR to resolve any issues also reduced. Okay. So far, if anyone is having any questions in the presentation, they can drop it in the chat. We can discuss them. Else, we can move on to the live demo. So we'll wait for 2 minutes. If anyone is having any questions, then we can move on to the demo part. Okay, I think if anyone is not having any questions so far, so we can move on to the live demo of the product. Okay, so first we will start with the MotaData network monitoring system. Then we can move on to the ITSM, that is the service ops product. Okay, so I'll just share my screen back. Okay. So this is the Mota Data network monitoring system. Okay, so once we log in into the system, if any administrator logins into the system, they will see this home screen dashboard. So this dashboard will be giving the eagle's eye view of the entire infrastructure. So how well the infrastructure is performing. So it is showing entirely about the availability tab, which shows how many devices are up, down. The different type of devices are being monitored here. As you can see, all the devices are being monitored of different types, like Windows machines are there, servers, applications, databases, routers, switches, firewalls. So all these different type of devices are being monitored here, and shows that all of the devices are up right now. There are no devices shut down. We also have this infrastructure health tab, which is showing different alerts getting generated in the system. Okay. So as per the different severities, different alerts are getting generated. So we can see that 18 critical alerts are there, 2 major and 4 warning alerts are there. So if I want to see what this alert is about, we can also see the alert, why it is getting generated. So there is a higher CPU load on this machine, that why this alert is getting generated in the system. Okay. There are also different widgets like which shows top 10 monitors by the CPU, by the response time, by the memory utilization, by the disk utilization. So that will give us an idea of the devices which are not performing well right now in the infrastructure. Now we'll see different type of devices being monitored here. So we'll start with some of the few network devices. So very first we can see the switch. So this once we so first of all, we are monitoring the switch, routers, and firewalls, all the network devices over HNMP protocol. Okay. So if any thresholds are breached, any downtime is there, it will notify us over the emails, SMS, via multiple channels. We'll be notified. And any device which is basically SNMP enabled can be monitored by the MotaData. There is no limit on the make and model of the device. Okay. So for this switch, we can see the availability trend, how much, what is the CPU utilization, the memory utilization, response time, packet loss, all this is getting monitored here. Okay. Now we can also drill down and check the entire historical trend also. So in MotaData, we are not having any restrictions on the data retention. For how much period we want to retain the data, that is configurable here. The reason behind is that the database that we are using is a time series database. It's not a raw column based database, RDBMS database, where the system is capable enough of storing the large amount of data. And this system is the best, the database that we are using is the best suitable for the any monitoring system also. So as you can see that we have retained the data even up to the last year also. So every poll will be stored for the till the last year. Okay. In the system. Okay, someone is. Okay. So we are also monitoring the statistics also, like the maximum, minimum, or the average utilization for a period of time. Yeah, anyone is having questions? Okay. It also shows what are the past alerts were generated regarding the CPU utilization for that particular switch. So all the alerts will be listed here. Okay. So the same switch, over the same switch, we are monitoring all the interfaces also. So interface availability, if they are up, down, what is the in traffic and out traffic through those interfaces is getting monitored here. The system is also showing the different availability trend also, different traffic trend for 12 hours, 24 hours, 7 days, 30 days. And same, whatever data that we are seeing is exportable in a CSV or a PDF format also. Okay. Now we are also, I'll also show you some of the few servers that we are monitoring. So we are also monitoring Windows, Linux, whatever different type of servers are there, we can monitor. Like IBM AX is also supported here. Okay. So once we keep any server for monitoring, we are also seeing all these performance parameters being monitored here. Like CPU utilization, disk, memory utilization, threads. If I want to monitor the CPU load in detail, then we can also monitor like what are the running process at a particular CPU load, thread details. I can monitor the memory utilization, like buffer memory, swap memory, cache memory. All this will be get monitored here, and whatever things that we are monitoring, system will also send alert. So we can define different alert policies in the system that I'll show you in the later part. So once they're getting breached, system will send an alert for them. So all the disk is getting monitored here, like C drive, D drive, how much of them are utilized right now. In case of higher utilization, they will again send the alert as well. So it is also monitoring all the running process in that particular server. So what are the running processes, the CPU load by the memory and the thread details. And on top of that, we are monitoring all the details like top 5 process by the CPU, by the memory, by the threads. So which gives us an idea of the expensive process that is consuming the most of the resources. It is also monitoring all the services running also with their status. And in case if it is going down, system will send an alert, and we can also execute a script so that the system is also capable of doing the auto remediation also, where through scripts we can execute commands that will make their service up again. So it's just not limited to making the service up again. Any other use cases are there. The system can trigger a PowerShell script or an SSH script as part of the alert action, where the system will auto remediate certain use cases over the servers as well. So if you are having any other devices, let's suppose we are having any storages to be monitored, then we can also support storage monitoring also. So this is the IBM V series storage that is getting monitored here, where we are monitoring all these details like free capacity, use capacity, entire volume metric details will be get monitored here. We are also monitoring entire disk IO details also. If I want to monitor V series storage details, that will get monitored. So the point here is that any component in the infrastructure, if they are working on the native protocols, the system can definitely monitor them. If I show you some of the access points being monitored here, so we can also monitor the wireless devices also. So like this is a access point which is being monitored here, where we are seeing what are the different clients that are connected, and we can also see the entire client details also. If I go to the client details, it shows the client IP, a host name, SSID, signal strength, all these parameters is getting monitored here. And if any rug devices are also connected, that will again show that information as well. Okay. So as you can see here on the left hand side, these are the different type of devices are being monitored here. So be it the cloud devices, be it the on-premise devices, the system is monitoring all of them. Okay, if any applications are there, like Tomcat application is there, JBoss application is there, we can monitor the applications also in the system. Okay. So this is an JBoss application which is showing how many active sessions are there, how many request time, cache hit ratio, performance details, all the transaction details will be get monitored for this particular JBoss application. Session details, traffic details, Now the same server is capable of monitoring the logs also. So if you are having logs being enabled from certain devices, like some applications, databases, servers, so system will collect those logs and will monitor them. Now this is the AD logs which we are monitoring, which is showing how many users are created, deleted, or modified. So through the logs, we are getting this information, because for any activity on a device and log entry will be generated, that will be captured by the MotaData and will highlight in this particular meaningful dashboards. And same, we can set alert policies on them. So like we want an alert whenever a new account has been created. So we can define such alert policy whenever such activity will be there, system will be sending an alert. Okay, so this is AD logs which are getting monitored here. Then if I want to see any firewall logs, sys logs to be monitored, so those can also be monitored here, where it is showing successful login by user and source host, failed login by user and source host. So if you want an alert on the failed login attempts, then system will send those alerts also. So these are the meaningful charts and the graphs that will be built in the system, for the different logs that are being captured here. And n number of customizable dashboards are possible. Standard dashboards are already incorporated in the system out of the box. But if you want to create the new dashboard, the customization is very easy and everything can be done over the UI itself, where we can create new dashboards. Widget customization is possible here, where we can select different visualization type, what data from what device you want to see. We can select that, and accordingly, the customizations can be achieved. Okay. Now the same system is also monitoring the flow also. where we can do the entire traffic analytics, like what what is the IP to IP traffic that we are having. So system is supporting net flow, S flow, J flow, where we can have this widgets being created like top 10 talkers by the traffic, top 10 destinations by traffic. And if I can drill down, I can check like this IP is communicating with what all destinations. Okay, so all the destination IP applications, protocol wise traffic we can see, and whatever data that we are seeing is always exportable in a CSV or a PDF format. Although we also have this dedicated reporting module also available, which we can schedule the reports and have the reports in a graphical format. Okay, so all the databases logs also being monitored here, like any credentials being created, deleted, modified, any roles are created. So those logs will be get captured and monitored here. Then system is also supporting topology creation automatically, where we can have the eagle's eye view of the entire infrastructure. So for any devices, any links which are going down, system will send an alert, as well as the color will get changed here automatically. So if any link goes down and device goes down, the chain color get changes from green to red or the respective color. So we can see the alert details directly from here. So at a single pane of glass, we can have this entire infrastructure being monitored in front of our eye. Okay. Then reporting module is also there, where all the reports regarding the availability report, alerts report, summary reports can be created here in the system. And whatever reports that is getting created, we can schedule them, where system will automatically collect the data and will send it to the respective mail IDs. Okay, so how frequently we want this report? We can keep a schedule like daily, weekly, or a monthly basis. Where we can define the email IDs also who should receive that report. Okay, so we don't have to go manually and take out the report. All the reports will be created out of the box. Like this is the Windows alert report or the availability report, which is being created here in the system. Okay, and all the report that we are creating is customizable. We can create n number of custom reports in the system, and existing reports can also be customized here. Okay, so this is in general about the MotaData INMS platform, about the monitoring system, that what all devices we can monitor, what all things that is getting monitored here in the system. So if any questions are there on the monitoring side, we can discuss it, else we can move on to the next product, which is an ITSM product. If any questions are there, team, maybe you can drop it over the chat, so we can answer them and incorporate them in the system.
There are no questions in the chat box for now.
Okay, we can move on to the ITSM product now. So, yeah. So this is the MotaData ITSM product, which we call as in service ops here. Okay. Now, the part of the service ops, there are various components in it. So we have a service desk in the system, which is an ITL compliant module. We have asset management and the patch management, all these three components at the same platform. So as part of the service desk, different modules will be covered. So we have incident management, problem, change, release management. All these modules will be get covered here. Okay. Then for the asset management, we can maintain both IT and the non-IT inventory at the same platform. Okay. Then for the patch management, the system will do the patching for the Windows, Linux, and Macintosh machines. So now, as part of the service desk, there are two users are there. So we have the end users who are the one who will be raising a ticket for any issue they are having. Then we have the technicians, the one who will be responding to those tickets and we provide solutions to that. Okay. So first we'll see the end user side portal. where how it looks like and what are the things which end users can perform. Okay, so let me take you to the end user side portal first. Okay, so this is the end user portal here, where all the end users will log in to raise any ticket and request certain services from the IT department or any other department. Now, first of all, to the end user portal, we can make announcements. So, like if email server is down, then we can put it as an announcement. So all the user will not raise an unnecessary ticket for such issues which are already identified. Okay. Now, if the end users wants to raise an incident, they can go to the create incident, and this form will be there where they can define the entire subject, description, what is the category of the issue they want to raise it. Okay. So in the subject box, they can also define the keywords. So based on the keywords, you can show related articles and FAQs also, so which end users can refer them. So for frequently asked questions, for common issues, technicians can create articles and FAQs, which they can upload it in the system. Okay. And if the solution is already there, they might not raise an unnecessary ticket for such issues. Okay. The end users can also select the category. Now, by selecting the category, we can define the workflows in the admin panel. So that workflow helps in routing the ticket to the most appropriate technician or the appropriate technician group also. Okay. Now, with the ticket they are raising, they can also link the assets. They can put attachments in the with the particular ticket they are raising. Okay. So this is how they will be raising a ticket in the system. Now, once the ticket has been raised by the end users, they can also track the status of the ticket which they have already raised in the past. Okay. Now, with those tickets, they can also respond to the technicians. They can put comments here. If they want to put some comments, they can put some comments here. They can see the status, and they'll be notified for any update on the tickets by the technicians. Like if any status update is there, any solution has been provided. So they'll be notified for it immediately. Okay. Then we also have this, service catalog available here. So this service catalog is basically where all the services can be published by the IT department. So like if any employee wants the laptop, then we can define a form where what specifically data we want from the end users. So end user will fill up those details and will request for those services from the technician. So it will ultimately raise as a particular service ticket, okay, to the technicians, so the technicians can respond to them and provide the services to the end users. All the KB articles and FAQs will also be published and will be seen by the end users. So we can provide the access to them so that end users can access those KB articles and FAQs. Now, there are multiple ways by which users can raise a ticket in the system. So first is through portal login. The second is through email to ticket functionality. So we can configure the support mail ID, like let's suppose support@motadata.com. So any user sending a mail to that mail ID, it will be converted to a ticket. Then we also have a mobile application available on Android and iOS platform. So users can log in over those mobile applications and raise a ticket from there. We can also integrate with third-party systems, where third-party systems can raise a ticket to the system. So like a monitoring system is raising a ticket in the Itsm platform, by integrating, and if there are any alarms, any downtime is there, a ticket will be auto raised in the ticketing system. We also have this chat bot, where through chatbot also we can raise tickets here. So this is entirely AI enabled. Based on the input that we are providing, it will automatically raise a ticket here. Okay, and with the ticket ID, it will respond to us what is the ticket that is being created here, and we can track the ticket accordingly. So this is about the end user side portal. We can move on to the technician portal now. Okay. So this is the technician portal here. So once we log in onto the technician portal, first of all, we can see this home screen dashboard. So this home screen dashboard will give the visibility of the entire activities that is going in the system right now. So we can see that how many open tickets are there, how many pending tickets are there. So different status-wise tickets we can see here in the system. We can also see the tickets by priority wise, which is being raised. Now, each technician can have their own personal dashboard where they can see what are their pending approval, pending task, and the pending tickets which they need to work upon. Okay. Then the same dashboard, we can also define different widgets, like if I want to see OS by computer wise, different asset distribution by location wise, how many patches are missing, how many machine is having, what all patches are missing. So entire details will be available on the home screen dashboard itself. Okay. Now, once the tickets are raised by the end users, all the tickets will be listed here. Okay. So to work upon those tickets, if I want to do the assignment to the respective technician, so we can do a manual assignment where all the list of the technician will be listed here. Now you can see each technician has been color coded here like red, yellow, and green. So this color coding is indicating the level of workload they are having right now. So the system is smart enough. It is having such algorithms, which is calculating the workload based on the technician based on the number of tickets they are already working upon, the priority of those tickets, SLAs associated with them. So we can assign the tickets to the green technicians because they are quite available right now in terms of the workload. Okay. So if I want to automate this, then we also have this workflows in the place where we can define certain conditions, and based on those conditions, ticket will be assigned to the respective technicians automatically. So here we have defined a condition like if an incident or a new ticket is created and the ticket category is servers, then it should go to which technician or which technician group. We can define those actions. So whenever such ticket is getting raised in the future, it will be automatically assigned to those technician or the technician group. Okay. So we can perform a lot of other actions like sending email, automating, updating the tickets. So as you can see, a lot of actions are possible here, and the system is also plugin based. So where system can execute plugin, where it will automatically perform actions also. So if a user is asking for a account creation on the Office 365, so here system will call the APIs of Office 365 and it will automatically create a user account for them. Okay. So this is the level of automations which we can achieve in the system. Okay, based on the different use cases that is there. Okay. So assignment can also be done automatically through smart balance. So smart balance will automatically identify the workloads on the technicians for a particular group and will assign the tickets to them based on their workload. So each technician will be equally loaded with the work in the system. Okay. Now we also have this service level agreements in the system. So service level agreement is where we can define what should the response time and the resolution time for a particular type of ticket. So like for a higher priority ticket, it should be, let's suppose 2 hours. And if it is not responded in 2 hours, then what escalations we want if ticket is not responded in 2 hours. Okay, like sending an escalation email can be one of the action here. Okay, and same way we can define the resolution time also. If ticket is not resolved in that time, then what escalations we want. So we want it to assign it to some senior technician. Okay. So that's how we are defining. We will be defining various SLAs, and now based on the SLAs also we can take out various reports which is customizable again. Like how to calculate the technician performance, how many tickets are SLA violated or not. So all such type of reports will be possible. Okay. Then all the customization for all the modules that we are having. So we are having all these modules. We have request management, problem, change, release, all these modules are there. For all these modules in the admin panel, we can do the customization. Entire customization is codeless, as you can see here. So whatever extra fields that we need to create, we just have to drag and drop those particular fields. And based on that, the customization of the fields can be achieved here. So different type of fields are there, like drop down, radio button, number, text fields, attachment fields. All these fields are possible, which end users can, which we can reflect it for the end users. Okay. Then we can also define the rules for the entire system, like what are the minimum tasks a technician should perform before responding or resolving a particular ticket. So these are the mandatory tasks which we can define for each module. So until and unless technicians are performing all these tasks on the tickets, they are not able to close a particular ticket. Right. So if I show you with one of the ticket which is already raised in the system. Okay. Like this is a particular ticket which is already raised. Now for already raised tickets, the technicians can reply to those particular tickets. They can see the current status, the current technician group, and the technician it is belonging to, whether the ticket is overdue or not based on the SLAs. Okay, then the technicians can also add notes, diagnosis, and the solution with the particular ticket. Now, as part of the ticket solution, they can put attachments, they can put existing KB articles and FAQs also. Okay. Now entire audit trail of the system will be recorded here, like who has done what all update on this ticket so far will be updated. Okay, so that helps in the time of audits also. Now the same can be done for the problem management and the change management also, where technicians can raise a problem ticket, and based on the problem ticket, we can see what all update has been done on this problem ticket so far through audit trail, and the assignment again can be achieved through workflows by automatically defining the flows and assigning to the respective technicians. And the change management is also there, where whatever IT change that is being implemented will go through a proper flow as per the ITL standard. So this again module is a ITL compliant module. For any change which is being there will go through a proper flow, and the chances of error becomes very negligible. So technicians can't skip anything, step and jump onto the next one. So this is about the services part here, where all the customization is again possible at the UI only. We don't have to do any code-based customizations. The system is also integrated with AD also, so for user authentications, self password reset, all such functionalities will be available to the end users also. Then we have this asset management at the same platform. So in the asset management, the system can automatically scan the network and will discover the assets. We can also discover the assets through agent also. So once you're discovering the asset through agent, it shows all the if you're discovering the assets through agent or the agent is of any way, it shows the entire details of that particular machine. So if I show you one of the machine which is already being discovered here, okay, so we can take this machine, like this machine we have discovered. So as soon as we discover this machine, it shows the entire information, like what is the OS installed in this particular machine, the product key, license key, if it is licensed or not. So the BIOS information, the RAM details, what are the processor details. So all these hardware related details will be fetched automatically by the system as soon as we do the discovery, either through agent or the agentless way. Okay. It also shows what are the software installed in the particular machine. So these are all the list of software installed in that particular machine right now. Okay, with installed path, installed date, installed location, all such details will be stored here. It also shows what are the different users account created on that machine. Okay. Then we can also link the events here. So in the link events, it shows like what are the problems associated with the particular machine. If any changes were implemented on this machine through a change ticket or an incident ticket, all this will be reflected here. It also shows what are the running contracts on a particular machine. So the asset management, we are providing the contract management, the purchase management also, where if any contracts are associated, those contracts can be linked with the asset itself, where we can define the contract start date, end date, and based on the end date, it also sends the expiry reminders also. Okay. So any purchase order which is linked with this particular asset can again be linked here. Now with the assets, we can also define barcodes in the QR codes. So we can print those barcodes, and throughout the mobile application that we are having, which is available for both end users and technicians. The technicians can scan those barcodes, and the details that we are seeing on the web portal, they can view it over the mobile application. So entire inventory can be tracked through the mobile app also. Okay. Then we can also associate cost with a particular asset, and based on the cost, it will also calculate the depreciated value of the asset. So if we enable the depreciation, it is calculating the depreciated value of the asset. Now it is entirely showing the history of the asset also, where if any changes are done on the machine, let's suppose any softwares are being installed or uninstalled, any hardware component is getting changed, the systems frequently scan those assets, and whatever changes are identified will be viewed here in the history tab. So as you can see here, over a single screen, without switching to multiple screens, we are seeing the entire asset details, like starting from the purchase order to the contract to the asset and life and end life. So entire life cycle of the assets can be managed at a single screen without switching to the multiple screens here. Now with the asset management, we are also providing the remote desktop also without any extra cost. So that is an VNC based remote desktop. So if technicians wants to take the remote desktop of the end user machine, they can take it and they can do the entire troubleshooting part. Now with the remote desktop, we're also providing audio calling, video calling, and file sharing, all these functionalities at the same platform. Now we also have this one of the nice feature which we call as a baseline. So in the baseline, we can define the standard configurations of the machine, okay, in the network or in the organization. So like all the machines should have 8 GB RAM or maybe Windows 10 is an OS. So if any machine which is getting deviated from that, it will send an alert. Okay, so like here as per the baseline, we have defined that all the machines should have 8 GB RAM and should have Windows 10 Pro, right? So any machine, so this machine is having only 4 GB RAM. So it is identifying the variance. Then again notify the administrators also. Okay, so this baselining is there for the hardware. And the same baseline can define for the softwares also, where we can define mandatory softwares and the prohibited softwares. If any machine is not having the mandatory software, it will send an alert. If any prohibited softwares are found installed in the machines, then again it will send an alert, and it can also auto install the software from those end machines also. Okay, so all this hardware and software baseline can be defined here. Then we have the software metering also available, which is metering, how much time of software was used and when it was last used. So if we are having any paid software, the system can track, how much time we are using the software and when it was last used. Okay. So we can take decision if a particular software is useful to the organization or not. So if you have bought the license, if you have purchased the license, then we can see, user wise, how much time they are using a software. So if it is not required, we can decommission the license. That will save our cost. Then we also have this patch management at the same platform, where the system shows like what are the missing patches, installed patches in the machine. One is having any questions? Sorry. Okay. Then each computer wise, we can see how many missing patches are there. And if any missing patches are found, we can directly push those patches from the Data itself. Now this can be done automatically also, where, as soon as we found any missing patches, we can push it from here. We can define the different policies. So based on the policies, it shows, how much, how we want to deploy a particular patch. So, like at the time of system startup or the next scan cycle, that after the patch deployment, we want to reboot, shut down, or do nothing. So entire steps we can define as per the different policies, and multiple policies can be created for different type of devices. So once you define the policies, the patches will be applied to the machines, be it Windows, Linux, or Macintosh machines. Okay. So we can do both installing and uninstalling of the patches. Any questions? Sorry. Okay. So I think if anyone is a question, we can discuss it. No problem. Then we also have the package management, where we can deploy EXE, MSI, and MSP packages across the organization. Let's suppose I want to deploy Chrome, Mozilla Firefox, such applications across the network, all the machines in the network. Then we can create those packages and upload it in the system. That system will push those packages directly from the console to all the machines. So all these packages can be created here and can be deployed across multiple machines. An entire reporting module will be there, where we can create multiple reports. Customizable reports are possible here, which technicians can create on ad hoc basis. And once the report is created, we can also schedule them. So we can see, first of all, how much period data we want to see in the report. So in the reports, we can include graphs also. Let me just show you one of the report being created. Yeah. So as you can see, we have included graphs in the report which shows different category-wise tickets which is raised, ticket ID, subject, requester name, technician name, when it was last updated, if it is SLA violated or not. So all the reports are customizable, where what data we want to see in the report, we can select those columns. Okay, we can classify the data based on different groups, departments, locations as well. So the same reports, customizable reports, will be available for assets also, where we can see all the asset details as part of the report. If I show you one of the other report regarding the asset. Okay, so as you can see, this report shows different statuses assets that we are having. Now, ticket, asset ID, asset name, IP address, host name, MAC address, all these details are available. So all these reports are exportable in multiple formats. You can export to the mail IDs also, as well as we can schedule them. So we don't have to go to the system every time to take out the report. The system will automatically collect it and will send it to the respective IDs. So those reports available are for the patch management also, where we can see the endpoint health reports also, like how many machines are patched right now. Okay, how many missing patches are there on what machines, if they are vulnerable or highly vulnerable. So all this data will be available as part of the reports. An entire admin panel is there for the entire customization, which we can do over the UI itself. We don't have to do any code-based customization. So for each module, we have provided the customization options in terms of fields, forms, rules, that we can define in the system. So yeah, that is about the ITSM part here. If anyone is having any questions, we can discuss on the ITSM or the NMS. Any questions are there? So that's it from my side. I would like to highlight in terms of the presentation and the demo. Now we can discuss any questions, any doubts, if anyone is having. Maybe we can check with members join. If anyone is having any questions, we can discuss them. So I'm done from my side in terms of the presentation and demo.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Maya.
Thank you. Thank you.
The customer once asked me that if the license that they are on has expired, that would they still be able to, use some of the features on MotaData for both the ITSM and the DAP. So kindly confirm, please.
Okay, so let me rephrase the question. The question is, if a software license is expired, will the system notify, right?
Yes, are there some features that they'll still be able to use if the license is expired?
Right. So in the software license, we can put the start date and the end date of the software license, expiry date. So once it is expired, system will send the notification. So all the pre-built notifications are available out of the box, which we can again customize also. So if I show you regarding the asset management, it shows all the expiry reminders in the system. As you can see, whenever any warranty, any license is expired, it sends the alert. And what data we want to receive, we can select that also. Okay. Any further questions, team?
All right. And the second question is, a customer that have multiple branches, different locations across different states, they want to create smaller tabs where they can manage these other branches, while the head office will be able to have, an overview of all these small tabs. So now they want a situation where the branches will be able to see only what they are using in their own environment, while the head office will be able to see all these tabs together on one dashboard. So they want to know if it's just one license that they'll be getting to manage all this together across all the platforms.
Yes, license depends on simply the number of devices to be monitored for the monitoring system. And for ITSM, it depends on the number of technicians. So the locations can be multiple. We can have a unified view of the multiple locations so that there is no extra cost for that. So we can use the concept of remote polling engine across multiple branches that will collect the data locally and will send it to the master server. Okay, so there is no extra cost for it. It only depends on the number of devices to be monitored for a monitoring system. And for ticketing, it is based on number of technicians. And for asset and patch, it again depends on the number of assets to be managed. Locations is never a bar here. Okay. So yeah, Tayo, I think that's the answer from my side. If any further questions, we can discuss again.
All right, thank you very much. I don't know if Chisom have something to say.
So you're saying that there are no further questions, right? Hello.
Mahak, thank you very much for your presentation. I don't know whether anybody in the audience has questions to ask regarding the presentation.
Okay, okay. Fine. Any further questions? Then maybe we please send us an email so we can respond to them, and we can also have a one-to-one session if. Okay. So yeah, I think if there are no further questions in the audience, then Jason, I think we can conclude the calls. If you would like to add something, you can add it. Else, we can conclude
Sorry,
the call.
there is a question on the chat box, please.
Okay. So how the deployment of NMS and ITSM works. So basically the deployment, in terms of the deployment, we can deploy the solutions on premises as well as on cloud. Okay. So for both of our systems, we are providing a bundled ISO file. So that ISO file includes the database OS in the application itself. So we just need an, a hardware instance from the client, be it a VMware, a virtual machine, or an instance over the cloud, or a physical server. So once it is provided according to the required specifications, then we can boot the ISO. So that will include OS database and the build. So there is no extra OS license or the database license is required, which overall reduces the TCO also. Okay, so for both of the products, we are providing the bundled ISO file, which is flexible enough to being deployed on the cloud as well as on premises. Yeah, if so, if you like to add something in the last, then you can add it. I think then we are good to conclude this call now.
Okay, thank you very much, Maya. The recordings will be sent to all participants, and if we have any questions, we can always send to Toyo, Chisom, or myself, or Temitayo, and then would always respond back to you. Thank you very much for your time, and we'll call it an end now. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. Have a nice day ahead.
Thank you very much. enjoy the rest of the day.